So as I sat here thinking about how to start this episode, it really dawned on me how depressing it is that I get to say for just the third time in this series, we're in the second round. Oh, it sounds so bad for how good this team has been at times. We take on our California rival, one of the two, of course. We take on the Anaheim Ducks in today's episode. Chicago and Colorado on the other side. In the West and the East, it's New Jersey, Buffalo, Montreal, and of course Detroit, who we moved back over to the Eastern Conference, or, who was in the Eastern Conference. I was thinking to the other series where we moved them over to the Eastern Conference, or to the Western Conference. Again, I am not restarting this episode. As far as what today's episode, though, was going to be, it's pretty straightforward. It's either we are going to win, like we arguably should, or we are going to horrifically choke, because for me, there's just not a team that we should lose to. We should win the Stanley Cup this year and get to end this series on a high note. Timo Meier, good, need more goals. Tomas Hertl, goals are fine, a couple of assists, preferably to your two wingers would be good. David Pastrnak, if you could score a goal, like I know you're a playmaker, but you look at that shooting category and that offensive awareness, and just the minor fact that you've scored 3 straight 30-goal seasons. No big deal or anything. It'd be cool if you could score some goals. Second line, Vitaly Kravtsov is doing what Vitaly Kravtsov does. Stamkos has been great. Sillinger has been great. That second line carried us in the first round. Perfetti, decent. Ellison, okay. Jean-Luc Foudy needs to step up, because the bottom line is we have Dylan Gambrell and Isaac Ratcliffe sitting there. And I am not afraid to put Dylan Gambrell in that lineup. If Foudy gets off to a slow start in this series, he will sit. Period. He has 1 assist. Fourth line, Willie Fratton, though, might not be safe either. But his excuse is he only plays 7 minutes a night, as opposed to Foudy, who plays 13. He needs to step up. Gregor, uncharacteristically low output for him. Heinonen, though, with 2 goals. So, maybe it is Fratton who gets bumped. And that way Foudy goes down to the fourth line, still gets another chance. So Foudy and Fratton on the chopping block here if they get off to a slow start in this series. If we're winning, that might buy them some time. Thomas Chabot's been solid, not quite as dominant, and I hate to do this to him, but he's going to consistently be compared to Erik Karlsson. He hasn't quite been as dominant as EK was in the playoffs at times. Of course, last year he wasn't there, and then he retired. Cal Foot's been great next to Chabot. Hanifin and Morrissey have been solid. And the third pairing of Foligno and Benin they've been fine, really. And again, waiting in the wings, Pasi Heikkinen, who knows how much of his career we're actually going to see. He's a top 4 defenseman, though. He can step up at any point. So a lot of pressures, a lot of different pressure on players in this lineup to perform. Perhaps no greater pressure than that lies upon the shoulders of Henrik Gustafsson. He needs to get the job done. Period. Our hopes and dreams of being Stanley Cup champions in this series, it's not all on his shoulders, but it is heavily on his shoulders. When we got to look at the Anaheim Ducks team last postseason, needless to say, I was afraid. Will I feel the same way today? The answer, yeah. Jesus. Okay. If their defense and goaltending is going to have to be subpar, one of them, and that has to be our advantage. Top line, Jesus Christmas. 10 points in 6 games, Daniel Sprong. 5 points in 6 games, Sam Steele. 7 points in 6 games, Brad Lambert. Where was that for us in the Finnish series last year? Second pairing or second line is Max Comtois. Great offensively, a bit weak defensively. Trevor Zegras with 4 points and Jack Kopaka with 4 assists. So they put up points, but they're also very, very vulnerable on the defensive side of things. Troy Terry with 4 points, and they score a ton of goals. 7 points there for Nugent Hopkins and 4 goals for Kyle Palmieri. Fourth line of Drake Caggiula, Isaac Lundstrom, and Max Jones. They are capable of putting up a ton of points. And when you look at our team and the fact that we've struggled, say, in particular on the penalty kill, we might have to take a look at our lines. Defensively, that's not their weakness. You know what? We need to look at some of these damn contracts here. Okay, Sprong makes all the money in the world. Steele makes almost 10. Lambert makes 9.3. They're going to lose Comtois at the end of this year. Zegras 6.2 and nearly $6 million for Kopaka, nearly $5 million for Terry. How the hell did they afford this team? Defensively, they have Braden Ortiz, who's been solid. He's only getting 5.5. And Josh Mohora at 4.4, basically. Second pairing is Hampus Lindholm, who's at 5. And Max Lajoie, who's at 2.8. Third pairing of Brendan Goulet, back in Anaheim. 4.8, basically. Jesus. I want to say back in Anaheim. I think we had him in a series. No, that's all right. He got traded there. Never mind. And then Jamie Oleksiak, 2.5. There's no way they can have a good goaltender. In terms of overall, how the hell could you possibly afford it? How are they affording this? Now, John Gibson was terrible in the first round, but they still made it through because they scored all of the goals. If John Gibson shows up, we are screwed because we just won't be able to outscore them. Fowler and Benoit Olivier Giroux are currently healthy scratched. I don't understand how they can even afford that team. I mean, we have $6.3 million in cap space. How much do they have? 0.684. It's amazing how the AI can make a finely tuned team like this 1 second, and then the next second we'll trade for another starting goalie when they already have one who's doing well, or we'll give up a first-round pick for a low-end top-4 defenseman. Oh, God. I don't have a very good feeling about this. Oh, boy. Call it a hunch. But I am scared. Like I said, there's a lot of pressure on that third line and in that bottom six to kill penalties. In terms of how we match up with ratings for what they are worth, it is a 100 offense against a 98 offense, a 94 defense against a 92, an 86 goaltending against an 80. We have the edge, despite how good of a team they are. Will that matter, though? Second round, game 1 against the Ducks. Let's do this. We have home ice. Let's see if it works out for us. Here we go. First period, and an advantage early on. 2 minutes in, Thomas Chabot with the goal. Each team with 8 shots in that first period. But Chabot's early difference maker is the difference maker to this point in time. Second period, we are tied. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, in a different life, would have been a former Shark. Instead, now he ties this game up 21 shots to 17 as we go to the third. So far, so good from Gibson. Jean-Luc Foudy, welcome aboard. Thanks for the goal. Power play. David Pastrnak scores. Not shorthanded, but the second it ended. We're up by 2 to make it 1. Brad Lambert gets one back. 8 minutes left. 3-2. Are we going to overtime, or can we hold on here? Please, can we hold on? Yes, thank God. I knew someone was scoring. Had to hope it was us, and it was. Connor Ellison with the empty netter, and we survive a very, very close game 1. Ultimately winning by the score of 4-2. Jean-Luc Foudy, ask and you shall receive. He shows up and secures his spot in this lineup. And Pastrnak and again Ellison on the third line with the empty netter. A 3-goal third period. And there you go. Ellison, Perfetti, Chabot leading the way. Not exactly in that order, but it's all good. We take game 1. Cal Foote is leading this team in points. Anybody who would have predicted that through 6 playoff games, I tip my proverbial cap to you because I don't wear hats. Because I have a gigantic skull and it looks weird. I mean, it looks weird regardless of whether or not I'm wearing hats, but you get the point. I'm not self-conscious, I swear. Game 2. No reason to change the lines. Let's hope we can continue to get to Gibson as we did in that first game. We obviously have the offensive output to do so, and hopefully Gustafsson can have another strong effort here. First period. 2 goals, 51 seconds apart from Goulet and Lambert. 15 shots to 10. 2-0 on the board for Anaheim. Second period, can we make our way back into this game? Yes, we can. Connor Ellison, that third line's alive. And Tomas Hertl, we are tied at 2 apiece. They have the slight edge in shots, but it's all even on the board, and that is all that matters as we go to the third. Will there be an early goal? Power play for the Sharks. Vitaly Kravtsov gives us the lead now. 3 unanswered on Gibson, although Comtois is able to tie it with a power play goal. They're not able to take advantage of the extended power play. Might have been a major or double minor. David Pastrnak scores. Yes, David. Waking up with the goals. We're up 4-3. 5 minutes left. Can we hold on, please? 26 seconds. The Sharks are up 2-0 in this series. 42 shots to 32 for Anaheim. That offense is no joke. But Henrik Gustafsson able to get the job done. The top line shows up. The third line showed up yet again, as did Gustafsson. Say what you want, a .929 save percentage. That's what we're looking for. A job well done there. One thing to note, the second line's been a little bit quiet in this series thus far, aside from the Kravtsov goal, but it's okay because that third line has woken up in their place. 2-0. 2-0. Through our first 2 games of this series. The question is, what are we going to see on the road? Is this another case of home team wins, road team wins, and we find ourselves tied heading into Game 5 back on home ice? We lose Game 3, I'm going to be scared to death that we lose this in 6 games because we've seen it happen so many times. Vitaly Kravtsov leading this team in points. We head to Anaheim with a chance to get a death grip on this series if RN Jesus is on our side. Let's see what happens. First period of Game 3, and it's going to be a shootout in Anaheim. Trevor Zegras scores a minute and 8 seconds in. Cal Foot's able to tie it. Kravtsov gives us the lead, but then later on in the period, Brad Lambert is able to tie the game. 13 shots to 9 for the Ducks, but we are tied at 2 on the board, each team having blown a lead in this game thus far. Second period, and an advantage for the Sharks. Heinen in with the goal. Jones ties it shorthanded, but with 49 seconds left in the period, Vitaly Kravtsov has the difference maker. 24 shots to 19, 4-3 on the board. Not exactly an ideal goaltending performance from either side, but we are 20 minutes away from a win if we can just show up. We didn't change the lines. It was unneeded. We'd won the first 2 games. Although I would say changing up the fourth line and getting Dylan Gambrell in on that wing might not be the worst idea. We go to the third. And Bratton! We were just talking about him. And he scores. Unbelievable. We're up by 2 with 13 minutes left. Power play. Okay, halfway through the third. Couldn't score on the power play. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The San Jose Sharks have a 3-0 series lead over Anaheim in round 2 off the back of a 5-3 victory in Game 3. Foot leads the way. 2 goals from Kravtsov. The fourth line shows up when we needed them to. The second line woke up. Steven Stamkos looked really good. And again, you talk about someone like Fratton, please wake up. He did. Talk about Pastrnak, please wake up. He has. And goaltending-wise, it wasn't great from Gustafsson, but it was good enough. That's all that matters. He gave us a chance to win, and we did. We are 1 win away. Cal Foot, oh my God. We are 1 win away from a second straight appearance in the Western Conference Final. Chicago's up 2-1 on Colorado. New Jersey and Detroit right now the favorites in the East. Okay. It's going to be fine. Fine. Game 4. Keeping the team the same. Here we go. Can we end this series early? Can we punch our ticket to the conference final? Here we go. First period, advantage Anaheim. Daniel Sprong scores very early on, 42 seconds in. Brad Lambert gets a second one on the power play. 11 shots to 4. A dominant effort from the Ducks there. We need to wake up, or this is absolutely going to a Game 5. Second period, we did not wake up. Trevor Zegras makes it 3. Nugent Hopkins with a shorthanded goal 26 seconds later. Cole Sillinger gets his first goal of this series, but we're down 4-1 heading into the third period. Gustafson's off. The team is off. We had a much better performance in that second period, but still, we're down by 3 heading into the third period, and barring a miracle, there will be a 5th game, and we're going to blow our first opportunity to end this series. Troy Terry makes it 5. It seems, I can't remember the last time we swept a team. We might have swept a team last year. It doesn't feel like it. Heinonen gets one back. It's 5-2. Meyer gets one back. It's 5-3. Too little too late, though, for sure. 45 seconds left, and there it is. 5-3 is your final score. The Ducks live to see another day. Not great. Not the performance, not the effort that you want to see. David Pastrnak, the only 2-point player in that game, and it was the top line and that top D pair that struggled. Our best players let us down. Case in point. Our best players let us down. I really wish the coach would have pulled Gustafsson after that second period, but ultimately you can't control that yourself, so you're at the game's mercy. We had the Game 5 back on home ice. Chicago also now 1 win away from the conference final. I'm going to keep the team the same. Despite really wanting to get Gambrell in as the difference maker, he will be in the lineup for Game 6 if we lose here and now, but let's not think that way, because there's no way our key players can disappear the way they did, and especially the goaltending, 2 games in a row. I have confidence in that. First period of Game 5, 2-0 Anaheim. Power play goals for Sam Steele and Jack Kopaka. 12 shots to 4. I am officially nervous. Second period. If we choke, the series is over. There will be no, I'll stream it on Twitch in the next port. No. We lose, this series is over. Terry on the power play. Nuge on the power play. Terry again. 4 power play goals. We talked about that at the beginning of this series, and it really wasn't a factor, the penalty kill. We go to the third, down by 4. Just getting decimated by unreal efficiency from that Ducks power play. We have a 5-on-3 of our own that we're not going to be able to capitalize on. Yeah. Steele scores shorthanded. Sillinger gets it back at 6-2. For the love of Christ, can we get a goalie change game? Can I control that, please? That'd be great. Can my coach have some better logic with that? Thanks, that'd be great. 6-2 is the final. We blow our first 2 chances to end this series, and now we have to go back to Anaheim for Game 6. I don't even want to look at the stats for our team. I don't care to know. The Chicago Blackhawks have punched their ticket to the conference final, beating the Avalanche in 5. Meanwhile, we go to a 6th game. Lineup changes are happening. Absolutely. Henrik Gustafsson, if you are starting Game 6. If you lose, you are not starting Game 7. Pretty simple. That third pairing is struggling immensely. It's being changed. It is absolutely being changed. Hoagland's not ready. Len Strimbu isn't ready. But there needs to be a change there. Release the Haken. The Haken? I guess release the Haken would have made more sense. He's getting called up. Sorry to Hayden Fleury. But at least you get to play down in the AHL now. I'm nervous about my call-up. Okay, sure, whatever. I can't believe we're even in this situation. If this team chokes, man. If this team frickin' chokes. That's all I can think. If this team chokes. For the love of God, I don't even know if the AHL team's still in the fucking playoffs, and if this even matters, I don't care. I know Fratton has a goal. It just sucks because that third line's playing really well. Well, the fourth line's playing really well. The third line could be a bit better. I feel like Stamkos has been quiet, but he's putting up assists. We've had, what, 2 points for Hertl? I think it's been 2 points for Tomas Hertl. Yeah, he had 3 goals, no assists. Some people are going to find this to be absolutely insane. But you know what? Desperate times call for desperate measures. Tomas Hertl's out. Steven Stamkos is moving up to the top line. Gambrell's in on the second line. I'm not going to deal with Hertl underperforming. I'm not going to do it. Does that hurt our chances to win? Maybe. But, I mean, shit. You know, you look at what he can do in the regular season. We know what he's capable of in the playoffs. He's choking. He actually has a higher shooting percentage than he did last year, but he is choking. He is not putting up the points. Something has to change. Something has to change. And we know how good Dylan Gambrell can be in the playoffs, too. Son of a bitch. If this team chokes. Shabbat and Foot has to stay a pairing because Cal Foot's absolutely killing it. Which means this pairing here, Foligno, we know how good he can be as a defensive defenseman. I just feel like Matthew Benin's really letting us down. So Haken is going to replace him. And chemistry-wise, they're okay. Haken's going to be on the power play too. I might change him to an offensive defenseman just to see what he's capable of. Again, penalty kill-wise, that stays the same. I know they got lit up in the last game, but there's really not much else I can do about it aside from playing our top players out there, and that only went so far for us last year as well. So Passy Hacken is in. Release the Hacken. Game 6. Number 76. Makes his debut. He's a graybeard at 19. Not saying that's unrealistic, EA. It can happen. It's kind of dumb, but it can happen. No problem. I know it's all randomly generated, but still. How much does that help the chemistry on that third pairing? Does it get him a +3, or does it stay a +1? Gets him a +3. Let's do it. Can we end this series on the third attempt? Or will the Ducks force Game 7 back on home ice? I'll be making severe changes for Game 7 if we lose this. Severe. Hertl's going to be off the top power play unit at the very least. And Haken's going to be off the power play. And Cal Foot is obviously going to be brought on. I feel the most confident I would say about that being the top power play unit. Although Hanifin and Morrissey aren't exactly killing it either. The problem is, though, we break out that third line post power play, and it's amazing. You know, it's tough for the other team to deal with. It's a good line that can match any team's top line. We just need Hanifin and Morrissey to wake the hell up. That's all we need. Is there anybody else who's good at face-offs? No. Let's just swap Hanifin and Morrissey and see. You know what? No, we'll leave Meyer there. That's it. Game 6. Game 6. For the love of God. We need this to go our way. Please. Please. First period here in Anaheim. Advantage San Jose. Ellison, Perfetti, and a power play goal from Tomas Hertl on Hutala. Gibson is out, and we are up 4-0 at the end of the first period. And if you can't tell, there's a bit of hesitation in my voice because, for the love of God, if this game makes this too good to be true, the third line dominates moments after I say they're a hell of a lot to handle. Hertl finally scores. The second goal of the series, I suppose, but still, it's better. Second period, still 4-0. We are 20 minutes away from punching our ticket to the Western Conference Final to play the Chicago Blackhawks, or from overtime, or from one of the worst goddamn collapses that secures a Game 7 for Anaheim. Here we go. You'd like to think I can be confident up 4-0 with 20 minutes left in the game. Not exactly with how cursed this team has appeared to be. 11 minutes left. Power play. Vitaly Kravtsov. Third time's the charm. The San Jose Sharks are going back to the Western Conference Final for the second time in as many years and for the second time in this series. We fell short in the Cup final last year, but we are halfway home. Henrik Gustafsson, when we needed him the most, shows up with a 30-save shutout. That third line, controversially for some, kept together in favor of scratching Dylan Gambrell, and it worked there. Ellison, Perfetti, Foudy, no points, but a +3. Tremendously done. Cal Foote and Morrissey, big games for them. A big game for this team overall. We stop the bleeding, and we move on. 5-0 final. Again, it's Chicago that awaits us in the East. 2 Game 7s. Thank God. Thank God. We are going to the conference final again. Timo Meier, 9 points in 11 games. I'd like to see a bit more out of him still. I gotta be honest. Tomas Hertl has 6 points in 11 games. He needs to wake up. That's the thing. We have won 2 series despite 2 of our best players, in my opinion, underperforming for how good they are. They wake up, we're golden. Pasternak's point a game, love it. Although, again, you'd like to see him score a little bit more. Vitaly Kravtsov is a revolution. Steven Stamkos, 12 points in 11 games. I don't mind the lack of scoring for him due to his age. And I mean, 5 goals for Hertl. Kravtsov has 8. So I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh on the top pairing. Cole Sillinger's been phenomenal. No complaints there. And then that third line, Cole Perfetti, 9 points. 8 points for Ellison with 6 goals, and then 3 points for Foudy. Again, you could still argue, take out Foudy. You could. Heinonen, 6 points. Again, that fourth line, though, has been tremendous. At least in terms, again, plus minus isn't a great stat, but from this game, you can see this fourth line, they're so strong defensively. I'm not against taking out Fratton, bumping Foudy down, and bringing in Dylan Gambrell for that third line. I'm not against it. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I genuinely don't. But there's a chance if we're in trouble, that's the contingency plan. Thomas Chabot, 9 points in 11 games, solid, a +8. Cal Foote has been better than I think any of us could have possibly imagined him to be, especially as a defensive defenseman. He had 9 points in 21 games. He only had 19 points in 60 games and was a -22 on a bad Tampa team. And look at this. There was no reason to believe that he could be this offensively prolific. And he's been unbelievable. That second pairing of Morrissey and Hannafin's been great. The idea to keep Noah Hannafin, we get him a new second pair partner with Josh Morrissey. That really shrewd move to get him on a cheap deal, and that's been tremendous for us. And then Foligno had a really good game. Those aren't his stats. Still, though, Foligno was a -3 if I'm not sure. Haken, 1 point in 1 game, a +1 in his first career NHL game. It was a playoff game. Cale Makar says hello. Goaltending-wise, the numbers weren't pretty, but it's a .901 now for Gustafsson at the end of it. We are going to the conference final again. We are taking on Chicago. Who's in the East? We're about to find out. Zach Castian goes down to a concussion in the AHL. So, yeah, the AHL team's actually still alive. They were just eliminated by the Stockton Heat. That's fine. I hate to have overlooked the AHL so much in NHL 20 so far, but when the main teams have struggled, we've had no choice. Montreal and Buffalo, both underdogs, advance in Game 7. We take on Chicago in the conference final. 4 wins away from another chance at the Cup.